we've known many sports ever since we were in childhood. Different sports that we may or may have not taken alike back in those days and up till now that we are grown ups. We may say that we know all of these games and the way how they are played, but we also do realize that it takes time to deeply understand why these games were created, how they became part of our everyday routine, even the smallest ones, and how they beautifully represent the culture of different races. From the time that they were made up and up till now that they are being played even amongst different foreign lands. A pleasant day, ladies and gentlemen. We are Group 1 and we present to you Futsal. Futsal is FIFA's official indoor soccer game. It is commonly compared to either football or soccer, but futsal is an entire different game. It is small-sided 5 versus 5, played on a smaller pitch, roughly a basketball court size, and with a smaller ball. The game is played on a flat indoor pitch with 2 by 3-meter goals and a size 4 ball with reduced bounce. The game favors ball control and quick decision making. Futsal is normally played on an indoor court with a smaller, low-bounce ball. Unlimited substitution are allowed as players consistently are running on and off the court.
Futsal is played between two teams, 5 versus 5 players, which includes one goalkeeper and 4 players each. Unlimited substitution are permitted. The game is played on a hard court surface limited by lines. Some early forms of the game had walls to bounce the ball off, which does not rely upon the player's ability to control the ball. Futsal is also played with a smaller ball with less bounce compared to a regular football. The surface, ball, and rules create an emphasis on improvisation, creativity, and technique, as well as ball control and passing in small spaces. Control, pass, and move is an expression of futsal that, when played at the highest level, is outstanding to watch and even more exciting to be involved in. If you are in a small-sided team at your local football club, at the end of this pandemic, in the coming summer, bring your whole team across and register for futsal. You will see how much the game improves your skill and how fun and fast futsal really is. The origin of futsal, five-a-side soccer, can be traced back to Montevideo, Uruguay, in 1930, when Juan Carlos Querani devised a five-a-side version of soccer for youth competition in YMCA's. The game is played on a basketball-sized court, both indoor and outdoor, without the use of sidewalls.
Juan Carlos Serrani is a physical education teacher in Uruguay. The creation of this futsal is when his football team wants to compete and cannot play in a match because the weather does not support, so the game is moved into a room indoors, and so futsal was created. Once Sirianni got the ball rolling, futsal gained a rapid popularity throughout South America, particularly in Brazil. The skill developed in this game is visible in the world-famous style the Brazilians display outdoors on a full-sized field. Pelé, Zico, Socrates, Bebeto, and other Brazilian superstars developed their skill playing futsal. While Brazil continues to be the futsal hub of the world, the game is now played under the auspices of FIFA all over the world, from Europe to North and Central America, and the Caribbean, South America, Africa, and Asia, and Oceania. The term futsal is the international term used for the game. It is derived from Spanish or Portuguese word which is for soccer, which is foot, and the French or Spanish word for indoor, which is salle. The term was adopted by U.S. Futsal since it includes the initials of USA. The term was trademarked in the United States after U.S. Futsal changed its corporate name within the state of California. The U.S. Futsal Federation was founded in 1981 and incorporated in January 1983. Osvaldo Garcia was its first president. The game is referred to as mini soccer, five-a-side soccer, football sala, or football desalao, but it is also widely referred to by its trademark name, which is futsal. The current federation president is Alex J.C. Para. The first Futsal World Championship, conducted under the auspices of FIFUSA, even before its members integrated into FIFA in 1989, was held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In 1982, with Brazil finishing in first place. The Brazilians repeated as champions at the second World Championship in 1985 in Spain, but lost in the third World Championship in 1988 in Australia to Paraguay. FIFA took over direct sponsorship of the event in 1989 in Holland and 1992 in Hong Kong. Brazil won both times. The U.S. Futsal indoor team finished third in 1989 and second in 1992 at the FIFA Five-a-Side World Championship, the highest showing by any team from the United States in a FIFA tournament until the U.S. women's team won the gold medal in China for outdoor soccer. The third FIFA World Championship was held November 24 through December 11, 1996 in Spain, and for the first time, FIFA named it the FIFA Futsal World Championship. The fourth FIFA Futsal World Championship was held in Guatemala between November 18 to December 4th in 2000. The fifth Futsal World Championship was held in Taipei in December 2004. The first international futsal match was played by the U.S. Futsal national team was in May 1984 in Nanaimo, Canada, and the United States won 6-5. The first international futsal match in the United States was held in December 1985 at Sonoma State University in Rohnert Park, California. The U.S. select team defeated Australia 9-5. U.S. Futsal has conducted a national championship each year since 1985. Futsal is establishing itself at the youth level in the U.S. The Boys and Girls Club of America took a strong interest after the Columbia Park Club in San Francisco asked the Federation to give a demonstration. The national organization adopted the sport, and it is now played at about 1,100 Boys and Girls Club throughout the U.S. The American Youth Soccer Organization, AYSO, also placed the sport in a close working relationship with U.S. Futsal since 1988. The U.S. Youth Soccer Association, USYSA, and U.S. Futsal signed an agreement in August of 1995 and in 1999 to promote futsal in all their national state association as their game of choice for indoor soccer under the auspices of U.S. Futsal.
For the continuation of our report, I'm Rubilin Marque Pelones, and I'm going to report the first part of the terminologies. I'm going to start with a block. A block is an attacking action where a player stands in the trajectory of the defender to impede them from following their direct opponents. Next is the corner kick. This occurs when a ball is kicked across the goal line, last touch by the defending team.
The corner kick. A corner kick is another method of restarting play and is awarded when the ball passes over the goal line, having last been touched by a member of the defending team. The corner is taken with the ball placed in the arc at the nearest corner and is taken by a member of the attacking team. The opponents must remain at least 5 metres away from the corner arc until the ball is in play. The player taking the corner cannot touch the ball a second time until it has touched another player. A goal can be scored directly from a corner, but only against the opposing team.
Next is the delaying. When the player acts to slow down the attack or defense to allow their teammates to recover and take their correct positions. Next is the dribbling. This consists of kicking the ball under control to yourself while moving down the field. Next is the fast attack. Last phase of attacking transition, when you try to attack the opponent's goal with speed when all the opposition defenders are behind the ball but they are not defensively organized. Next is the feint. When an attacker without the ball uses a sudden change of speed or direction to lose their marker and gain space. Very important resource in futsal due to lack of space and frequency of 1 versus 1 situations. Next is the free kick. This is awarded to a team at the spot where a player commits a penalty. It can be direct or indirect.
Free kicks. Free kicks may be either direct or indirect, depending on the type of infringement. In either case, the ball must be stationary when the kick is taken. If the kick is indirect, a goal may only be scored if the ball subsequently touches another player before it enters the goal. The team taking the free kick must do so within 4 seconds, and the kicker must not touch the ball a second time before it touches another player. All opposing players must be at least 5 metres from the ball until the free kick has been taken. To indicate a direct free kick, the referee keeps one arm horizontal, pointing in the direction the kick has to be taken. The referees indicate an indirect free kick by raising one arm above their head, maintaining the arm in that position until the kick has been taken and the ball has touched another player or goes out of play.
Next is the goal throw. This occurs when a ball is kicked across the goal line, not in the goal, last touch by the attacking team. For the last part of my report, which is the handball, this is called when a player other than the goalie touches the ball with a hand or any part of the arm intentionally. So that's it.
Good day everyone, this is Jerry M. Manangan for Terminologies Part 2. Isolation. Attacking situation where the teammates of the ball carrier move away to create a 1v1 situation without defensive cover. Next is kick in. Results if the ball goes out of the bounds. The ball is placed in the touchline and must be kicked within 4 seconds. Next is opening. Opening is the first phase of attacking transition. This is the first pass after the possession is recuperated. Penalty kick. This is awarded to the attacking team player when fouled inside the penalty box while trying to score, and awarded when the team has an illegal substitution. Pivot. Player. This is the player who plays furthest forward, often physically strong and good at playing with their back to the opponent's goal. Screen. When an attacker cuts or runs between the ball carrier and their direct opponent used to relieve the pressure on the ball. Sweeper. Outfield player who plays closest to their own goal, usually a good reader and strong physically, alternatively known simply as the defender. Next is trapping. Trapping is the stopping of the ball with a part of your body to gain control. And the last is winger. Player who plays on the wings, often fast and with good 1v1 dribbling abilities.
A value that seems no one talks about, the ethics or values behind the game futsal, is resiliency. Futsal is a game where players either win or lose, and just when the luck is not there to gain, players have to roll with punches and snap back to thrive and try again the next time they play. The sport futsal can be compared to the game of life. We win and lose. We have our ascending and descending moments of life. And with resiliency, we can cope with the stress, hardship, the feeling of failure, and inferiority. But resiliency is not something that you can easily have once you wish or want it. It's not something that you wish on Genie. It's not a work of Genie thing. It's a long time building process. And futsal can help construct the resiliency within you. What's good about having this value of being resilient is that you just can't apply it on the games or competitions of your life. Being resilient is applicable in most aspects of our lives, whether as a student, a player, or just a simple individual, since dealing with change is an inevitable part of life. The next time you see a player whose team just got lost in a game, but still able to remain calm and not done, don't ever wonder, because it's the work of resiliency.
There are many chances for futsal players to show and rehearse their procedures and abilities. Futsal players learn how to rapidly see and distinguish free space under a great tension and learn or know where their help and adversaries are. Futsal additionally shows the principles or standards of attacking and defending and learning how to find time and space. Futsal is extraordinarily fun. Keeping players engaged and intrigued is a critical component of player development in any game. Futsal gives a different twist on the game, which keeps it new and energizing, and this results to player returning for more.
So this is futsal's law of the game for the duration of the match. So periods of play. The match lasts 2 equal periods of 20 minutes for a total of 40 minutes, unless otherwise mutually agreed between the referee and two teams. Any agreement to alter the duration of the periods of play must be made before the start of play and must comply with the competition rules. Ending the periods of play. The timekeeper indicates the end of each 20-minute period with an acoustic signal. After hearing the timekeeper's acoustic signal, one of the referees announces the end of the period or match with his whistle. Timeout. The teams are entitled to a 1-minute timeout in each period. The following conditions apply when the team officials are authorized to request the third referee or the timekeeper if there is no third referee for a 1-minute timeout using the document provided. The timekeeper grants the timeout when the team that has requested it is in the possession of the ball and the ball is out of play, using a different whistle or acoustic signal from the ones used by the referees. During the timeout, the players may remain on or off the pitch in order to have a drink. The players must leave the pitch. During the timeout, the substitutes must stay off the pitch. Next, during the timeout, officials are not allowed to give instructions on the pitch. Substitutions may only be made after the acoustic signal or whistle has sounded to indicate the end of the timeout. A team that does not request a timeout in the first period of the match is only entitled to one timeout during the second period. If there is neither a third referee nor a timekeeper, a team official may request the referees for a timeout. There are no timeouts during extra time if played. That's it for the timeouts. Now, for the halftime interval, players are entitled to an interval at halftime. The halftime interval must not exceed 15 minutes. Competition rules must state that the duration of the halftime interval. The duration of the halftime interval may be altered only with the consent of the referee. For the abandoned matches, an abandoned match is replayed unless the competition rules provide otherwise. The start and restart of play. Preliminaries. A coin is tossed and the team that wins the toss decides which goal it will attack in the first half of the match. The other team takes the kick-off to start the match. The team that wins the toss takes the kick-off to start the second half of the match. In the second half of the match, the teams change ends and attack the opposite goals. Now, kick-off. A kick-off is a way of starting or restarting a play. It could be done at the start of the match, after a goal has been scored, and at the start of the second half of the match, and at the start of each period of extra time where applicable. And a goal may not be scored directly from a kickoff. The procedure would be for a kickoff is all players must be in their own half of the pitch. The opponents of the team taking the kickoff are at least 3 meters from the ball until it is in play. The ball must be stationary or on the center mark. The referee gives a signal. The ball is in play when it is kicked and moves forward. After a team scores a goal, provided that the period has not ended, the kickoff is taken by the other team. Now, the infringements and sanctions. If the ball is in play and the players taking the kickoff touches the ball again, before it has touched another player, an indirect free kick is awarded to the opposing team, to be taken from the position of the ball when the infringement occurred. If the ball is in play, and the player taking the kickoff deliberately handles the ball before it has touched another player, an indirect free kick is awarded to the opposing team to be taken from the position of the ball when the infringement occurred, and his team is sanctioned with an accumulated foul. In the event of any other infringement of the kickoff procedure, the kickoff is retaken and the advantage cannot be applied. Drop ball. If while the ball is still in play, the referees are required to stop play temporarily for any reasons not mentioned elsewhere in the futsal laws of the game. The match is restarted with a drop ball. The match is also restarted with a drop ball when provided for in the futsal law of the game. Now for the procedure. The referee or second referee drops the ball from the position of the ball when the play was stopped, unless play was stopped inside the penalty area, in which case one of the referees drops the ball on the penalty area at the point nearest to where the ball was located when the play was stopped. Play restarts when the ball touches the ground within the boundaries of the pitch. If the ball leaves the pitch after it makes contact with the ground without the player touching it after being in play, the ball is dropped at the same point where it was dropped the first time. Infringements and sanctions. The ball is dropped again at the same place where it was dropped the first time if it is touched by a player before it makes contact with the ground. If the ball leaves the pitch after it makes contact with the ground without player touching it. If any infringement is committed before the ball makes contact with the ground. Now, if after the ball has made contact with the ground, a player kicks it once directly towards one of the goals and the ball goes directly into the opponent's goal, a goal clearance is awarded. Into the team's own goal, a corner kick is awarded to the opposing team. If after the ball has made contact with the ground, a player kicks the ball with more than one touch towards one of the goals, and the ball enters one of the goals, a goal is awarded.
We will be discussing Law 9, the ball in and out of play. The ball is out of play but it has wholly passed over the goal line or touch line either on the floor or mid-air. The play has been stopped by the referees. It hits the ceiling. Also, the ball is out of play when it touches a match official, remains on the ceiling, and a team starts a promising attack. Next one is the ball goes directly into the goal, or the team in possession of the ball changes. In these three cases involving the ball touching a match official, play is restarted with a drop ball. Number 2, ball in play. The ball in play at all times when it touches a match official as well as when it rebounds off a goal post or the crossbar and remains on the pitch. Third one is the indoor pitch. The minimum height of ceilings shall be stipulated in the competition rules. If the ball hits the ceiling while in play, the game is restarted with a kick-in to be taken by the opponents of the team that last touched the ball. The kick-in is taken from the point on the touchline nearest to the place on the floor above
which the ball hit the ceiling. Now we will be discussing Law 10, determining the outcome of a match. For the first section is goal scored. A goal is scored when the whole of the ball passes over the goal line, between the goal post and under the crossbar, provided that no offense has been committed by the team scoring the goal. If the goal is moved or overturned by a defending team player, including the goalkeeper, whether accidentally or deliberately, and the referees confirm that the ball has passed over the goal line and would have entered the goal between the normal position of the goalpost as stipulated in Law 1, the referees shall award a goal. If the goal was moved or overturned deliberately, the referees shall caution the offending player. If an attacking team player, including the goalkeeper, moves or overturns the goal, the referees shall disallow the goal. If it was deliberate, the player must be cautioned as well. If the goalkeeper throws the ball directly into the opponent's goal, a goal clearance shall be awarded. Except where domestic rules outlaw the throwing of the ball directly over the halfway line in youth, veterans, disability, or grassroots futsal. In that case, an indirect free kick is awarded to the opposing team to be taken from the place where the ball crossed the halfway line. There is no goal if one of the referees signals a goal before the ball has passed wholly over the goal line between the goal post as stipulated in Law 1 and immediately realizes his or her error. Play is restarted with a drop ball.
In determining the outcome of the match of futsal, there is the law number 10. Under this law is the winning team. For determining the winning team, it would be the team who gathered the greatest number of scored goals during the match. A goal is considered to be a score if the entire ball passes over the goal line, that is, between the goal posts and under the crossbar, given that no offense was done by the team who scored the goal. Then for some instances, like both teams score the same number of goals, they are equal in score, or there is no goal scored at all, the match will call for a draw. As per the competition rules that required to have a declared winner after the drawn match or home and away tie, there are permitted procedures in determining the winning team. These are the away goals rule, 2 equal extra time intervals not exceeding from 5 minutes each, kicks from the penalty mark, the away goals rule. If the team play each other home and away tie score after the second match, all goals scored at the pitch of the opposing side will be doubled. For 2 equal extra time intervals not exceeding 5 minutes each, the competition rules shall allow for the length of 2 equivalent intervals of extra time. Kicks from the penalty mark. Kicks from the penalty mark are taken after the match has ended, and unless otherwise stated, the relevant futsal laws of the game apply. Kicks from the penalty mark are not part of the match.
On the third section of Law 10, we will be discussing kicks from the penalty mark. These are kicks that are taken after the match has ended, and unless otherwise stated that the relevant futsal laws of the games may be applied. Remember that kicks from the penalty mark are not part of the match. There are procedures to be observed before kicks from the penalty mark will start. First is, unless there are other considerations, for example, are pitch condition, safety, camera placement, or etc., the competition regulations specify otherwise, the referee tosses a coin to decide the goal at which the kicks will be taken. The referee tosses a coin, and the team that wins the toss decides whether
to take the first or the second kick. Third, all players and substitutes are eligible to take kicks from the penalty mark except those players who, when the match or extra time finishes, are injured or have been sent off. Next, each team is responsible for selecting from the eligible players the order in which they will take the kicks. The referees do not need to be informed of the order. Fifth, if at the time of the match or extra time and before the kicks from the penalty mark start, one team has a greater number of players, including substitutes, than its opponents, it may choose to reduce its numbers to the same number as its opponents, and the referees must be informed of the name and number of each player excluded, if there are any. Any excluded player is not eligible to take part in the kicks except when a goalkeeper who is unable to continue before or during the kicks may be replaced by a player or substitute excluded to equalize the number of players. But the replaced goalkeeper takes no further part and may not take a kick. If the goalkeeper has already taken the kick, the replacement may not take a kick until the next round of kicks. During kicks from the penalty mark, there are also procedures to be taken. First is only eligible players, the referees, and the match officials are permitted to remain on the pitch. Second, all eligible players except the player taking the kick and the two goalkeepers must remain within the center, circle, or either on or close behind the halfway line. Third, the goalkeeper of the keepers or the kicker's team must remain on the pitch outside the penalty area, approximately in line with but at least 5 meters away from the penalty mark and or the opposite side of the pitch to the benches and the second referee. Next one is an eligible player may change places with the goalkeeper. Next, the kick is completed when the ball stops moving or goes out of play, or when the referee stops play for any offense. The kicker may not play the ball a second time. 6. The referees keep a record of the kicks. 7. If the goalkeeper commits an offense and as a result the kick is retaken, the goalkeeper must be cautioned. 8. If the kicker is penalized for an offense committed after the referees have signaled for the kick to be taken, that kick is recorded as miss and the kicker is cautioned. If both the goalkeeper and kicker commit an offense at the same time, examples are this, or if the kick is missed or saved, the kick is retaken and both players are cautioned. Second is if the kick is scored, the goal is disallowed. The kick is recorded as miss and the kicker is cautioned. Number 10, and lastly, if during the kicks from the penalty mark, one team's number of players is reduced, the team with more players may choose to reduce its numbers to the same number, and the referees must be informed of the name and number of each player excluded. Any excluded player is not eligible to take further part in the kicks. There are instances when any excluded player is not eligible to take further part in the kicks, but are subjected to conditions where they are exempted. Examples of this are the kicks are taken alternately by the teams. Second is each kick is taken by a different player, and all eligible players must take a kick before any player can take a second kick. Third, kicks may continue for any subsequent sequence of kicks, but a team may change the order of kickers. Next one is if both teams have taken 5 kicks, one has scored more goals than the others could score. Even if it were to complete its 5 kicks, no more kicks are taken. Fifth, if the goals are level after both teams have taken 5 kicks, kicks continue until one team has scored one goal more than the other from the same number of kicks. And lastly, kicks from the penalty mark must not be delayed for a player who leaves the pitch. The player's kick will be forfeited if the player does not return in time to take a kick. On the last section of Law 10 is away goals. Competition rules may provide that where teams play each other home and away, if the aggregate score is equal after the second match, any goals scored on the pitch of the opposing team will count double. Now we will be discussing Law 12, fouls and misconduct. Direct and indirect free kicks and penalty kicks can only be given for offenses done when the ball is in play. A direct free kick is awarded if a player has done any of the following offenses against an opponent which is considered by the referees to be careless, reckless, or using excessive force. Charges, jumps at, kicks or attempts to kick, pushes, strikes or attempts to strike, tackles, including headbutts, challenges, trips or attempts to trip. If an offense involves contact, it is fined with a direct free kick or a penalty kick. Also, a direct free kick is given if a player has done any of the following offenses: a handball offense, holding an opponent, impeding an opponent with contact, biting or spitting at someone, or throwing or kicking an object at the ball, an opponent, or a match official, or making contact with the ball with a held object. Now let us move on to indirect free kicks. An indirect free kick is awarded to a player if the player plays in a dangerous manner, impedes the progress of an opponent without any contact being made, is guilty of dissent, using offensive, insulting, or abusive languages or gestures, or other verbal offenses, prevents the goalkeeper from releasing or throwing the ball from the hands, or kicks the ball when the goalkeeper is in process of throwing it, commits any other offense not mentioned in the futsal laws, for which play is stopped to caution or send off a player. An indirect free kick is also awarded if a goalkeeper commits any of the following offenses: controls the ball with the hands, arms, or feet of his own half of the pitch for more than 4 seconds, touches it again in his own half of the pitch after it has been deliberately played by a teammate without an opponent touching or playing it, or after receiving it directly from a kick in by a teammate.
The other laws of the game of futsals are about free kicks, penalty kick, kick in, and the corner kick. Law number 13, free kicks. There are two types of free kick. It's either be direct or indirect free kick. For both, the ball must be stationary when the kick is taken, and the kicker may not touch the ball a second time until it has touched by another player. For law number 14, it is all about penalty kick. A penalty kick is awarded against the team that commits any of the 10 offenses discussed on the law, 12 fouls in misconduct, for which a direct free kick is awarded inside its own penalty area and while the ball is in play. A goal may be scored directly from a penalty kick. For law number 15, it is all about kick in. For FIFA's laws of the game, kick in is the method of restarting play. It is awarded to the opponents of the player who last touches the ball, crosses the touch line either on the ground or in air, or touches the ceiling of the hall. For law number 17, the corner kick. It is a method of restarting play. It is awarded when the whole of the ball passes over the goal line, either on the ground or in the air, having last touched a player of the defending team, and then the goal is not scored in accordance with the law number 10.
Court layout. The field should have a rectangular shape. The length of the touchline is greater than the length of the goal line. In US matches, the length of the court must have a minimum and maximum length of 25 meters, which is 82 feet, and 42 meters, which is 137.8 feet. In US matches, its minimum and maximum width are 15 meters, which is 49.2 feet, and 25 meters, which is 82 feet. While in international matches, its minimum and maximum length are 38 meters, which is 124.6 feet, and 42 meters, which is 137.8 feet. Its minimum and maximum width are 18 meters, which is 59 feet, and 25 meters, which is 82 feet. The pitch shall be marked with lines. These lines belong to the areas of which there are boundaries. The two longer boundary lines are called touch lines, while the two shorter lines are called goal lines. All lines should have 8 cm wide. The pitch shall be divided into two halves by the halfway line. The center mark shall be indicated at the midpoint of the halfway line. A circle with a radius of 3 centimeters or 9.8 feet shall be marked around it. Next is the penalty area. Penalty area shall be marked out at each end of pitch as follows. Quarter circles. Quarter circles with a 6 meters or 18 feet radius shall be drawn centered on the outside of each goal post. The quarter circles shall be drawn from the goal line to meet two imaginary lines which has 6 meters or 19.6 feet in length drawn at right angles to the goal line from the outside of the goal post. The upper part of each quarter circle shall be joined by a 3.16 meters or 10.3 feet line running parallel to the goal line between the goal post. The curved line marking the outer limit of the penalty area is called the penalty area line. Next is the penalty mark. This penalty mark shall be drawn 6 meters or 19.6 feet from the midpoint between the goalpost and has equal distance from them.
Good morning, everyone. The second penalty mark. A second mark shall be drawn on the pitch 10 meters or 32.8 feet from the midpoint between the goalpost and has equal distance from them. The next is the substitution zones. The substitution zones are the areas on the touchline in front of the team benches that the players shall use to enter and leave the pitch. The substitution zones are situated in front of benches and are 5 meters or 16.4 feet in length. They shall be marked at each end with a line of 8 cm wide and 80 cm in length, 40 cm of which is drawn on the pitch and 40 cm of the pitch area in front of the timekeeper's table, which is 5 meters or 16.4 feet to either side of the halfway line, shall be kept. Lastly, the goals. The goals shall be placed in the middle of each goal line. They shall consist of 2 upright posts equidistant from each corner and joined at the top by a horizontal crossbar. The distance inside measurement between posts shall be 3 meters or 9.8 feet, and the distance from the lower edge of the crossbar to the ground shall be 2 meters or 6.5 feet. The goal post and the crossbar shall have the same width and length of 8 centimeters. The goal lines shall be the same width as the goal post and the crossbar. Nets are made up of hemp, jute, or nylon shall be attached to curved tubing or another suitable means of support. The depth of goal is the distance between the inside edge of the goal post and the back of the net. Shall be at least 80 centimeters at the top and 100 centimeters at the ground level. That's all. Thank you.